How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is RIDDLES, and welcome back to a brand new video, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be talking about some Pokemon stuff, leaks, rumors, all things like that. You guys already know how this works. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a beverage, and let's get right into it. Starting things off with this post right here, just over on the r/PokeLeaks, I guess, Reddit. Now, what is this about? Well, basically, if you guys don't know this, Nintendo announced a bunch of games for like, NES, Game Boy, and Game Boy Advanced, and that kind of brought up this theory of, will we be seeing Emerald, will we be seeing Fire Red, Leaf Green, all these games, will we be seeing them actually showing up in, the Nintendo Switch Online section? Well, one of the games that is coming, that we already know about for a while now, is actually specifically, I think Pokemon Stadium is one of the ones that's going to be showing up. And interestingly here, a person over on the Family Boards pointed something out that they noticed about this. And here it says, updated Japanese Nintendo Switch Online video got rid of the Pokemon cannot be transferred to these games disclaimer for Pokemon Stadium. And if you actually go over here to the post, we're going to mute this because of copyright reasons. And then if you look here at the section where it shows, Pokemon Stadium, see, there's no mention, there's no disclaimer, which, by the way, remember, please, they always put these disclaimers. And what am I talking about for those who don't understand? They put like a little notice that says, oh, you can't transfer these Pokemon over to Pokemon Home. And they do this, they put these notices there, okay, specifically for a big reason, which is, one, they don't want people to assume they can do that, right? Because then it would be almost like lying to people or, false advertising, right? But this time around, that notice is not there, which could mean a lot of different things. One, it could mean that the Stadium Nintendo Switch Online games actually, that will be on there, for example, like Stadium, will allow you to transfer Pokemon over to Home, which would be freaking sick. Number two, it would also imply, in some way or shape, I guess, also, that we might be getting, those other games that we've been talking about, Fire Red, Leaf Green, Red, Blue, Yellow, Green, etc., might be happening in the future and allowing you to transfer to Home so you don't actually have to own those games on cartridges. Because, as you guys know, owning a legitimate copy of, like, Soul Silver is, like, expensive. I mean, you can find those, like, non-boxed versions, which majority of the time will be fake. Maybe sometimes you'll run into someone who's just like, somebody on a yard sale that's just trying to sell one of theirs, because there are a bunch of them floating out in the world, and whatnot. But normally, if you're buying from somebody, they will usually be fake, right? Or they will be super expensive if they're legit. But that's besides the point. What the point really is here is that those games will most likely be re-released or have to be re-released for people to enjoy them without, downloading the ROMs of them online and playing them on an emulator, and instead playing them on an official, Nintendo console. That's basically what we're trying to get across here. So that's what we're trying to say. Again, I don't really know if this is the case. We'll have to wait and see. But I want to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions on this in the comment section down below. And let's move on to the next subject, which is going to be coming to us from Soul, who says, I want to propose something different about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's third legendary. So this is the theory about the third legendary Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. If you don't know who Soul Silver is, if you're wondering why we should listen to him, he is somebody who is a leak analyzer, or leak analyst is what I call him. He theorizes and kind of breaks down theories on recent leaks and also information we already know about the games and stuff like that. He just breaks it down, gives you a bit of an overview of what we're talking about. So he says, he wants to propose a different theory about the third legendary. Its supposed category is the disc Pokemon. I think it could be a Pokemon that has recorded all of time and space, and it stores all that has happened in the past and the future like a disc, a hard drive, which actually would make sense. With disk storage, also sometimes called a drive storage, is a general category for storage mechanisms. Well, disk drives aren't really used as much anymore. Now it's all, SSD, which runs differently. A disk Pokemon, while separated from the research team in the creator's deepest depths, I found a strange entity. Whether it was a Pokemon or even alive at all, I know not. It bore a I guess, I'm not sure exactly what he's trying to say, with layers of overlapping hexagons and gleamed brighter still than rhinestone, I guess? I don't know, whatever. Viewed as a whole, it resembled a mysterious something disc. So that's pretty much what we have in regards to that. Now he continues on and says the following. So if it functions like a storage disk, maybe it can see the entire multiverse, all the timelines, and it could create Paradox Pokemon from data it has been seen/stored. Categories might seem completely unrelated to how a Pokemon looks, but they tell a lot about a Pokemon and what they're based on, and Also on how it functions. You can see here in both older and modern examples, though this legendary also seems very circular and disc-shaped too. So for example, here you have the warrior Pokemon, so the caretaker Pokemon, stealth Pokemon, the warrior Pokemon, gigantic Pokemon, the Wushu Pokemon twice, the rogue monkey, the Electron, the Dragonor Pokemon, the wild horse, swift horse, etc. Example here you have the baby, punk, radiator, tantrum, jujitsu, black tea, calm, serene, etc. It's basically just different categories for Pokemon. And even back then how they did the Psy Pokemon, the super power Pokemon, and the flower Pokemon. Then he continues on. As for creating paradoxes, I love this take, and basically it's just a kind of a theory, I guess, up here. I love this so much. It's from Dusty, who says it differentiates this from Dialga and Celebi. And what happens if you scratch a disc? It gets corrupted. What if paradoxes are corruptions? Which actually is a really cool concept, a really cool idea that definitely would actually. Well, I would like to see how that would run in terms of actually if that's the case here, how that would make sense. But either way. He continues on saying, it's always watching, always recording. Well, you have this like thingy up here that's kind of a, iguana, chameleon looking ass thing, which, I guess with the terrestrialization, with the crystals, that's what's watching you, right? It's basically watching over and recording all of time and history. It's basically this like non-stop. It's just like the big brother of the Pokemon world. It's keeping track of everything that's happening, which I think is a really cool concept. Like genuinely, hands down, a really cool idea, really cool concept. As for if it is what we're looking at right here, it's up for debate. But it is a cool concept nonetheless. That's really all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, so that's pretty much that for that one. We move on to the next thing, which is this one right here. Now, this Pokemon Scarlet and Violet theory was purposely connecting the third legendary to time and paradoxes. But the main plot I wanted to get across was that it's not a time-controlling god Pokemon, but instead a grand archive/storage/database Pokemon like a CD, a floppy disk, hard disk, memory card, etc. Saying the following. This back in the early days of the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet promo cycle, I was speculating non-stop about how the rainbows and the light spectrum was tied into the legendary somehow. This actually connects it all, which is just insane to me. Also, this is a CD for you, Gen Z, lol. But yeah, so then he's just showing what a CD is. Lastly, I was made aware of these Akashic records in the replies to my original tweet. Well, definitely could be a big connection to this whole theory and even Atlantis. So here's what Gyros said here. Gyros said, this would actually fit into my theory that the disc, if not the legendary itself, is an Akashic record because of the heavy occult influence we've seen in the games. The Akashic records record future and past, including Atlantis and the 28th century. The disc in its entirety is actually a form of Akashic record, a name taken from the Sanskrit word of sky or space, befitting its meteorological, there we go, origin from space over 1 million years ago, after falling to Earth, to planet Earth. So, he says the following here, and also Eduardo has a post here, which is all about, what it is, that it's an Akashic, the Akashic, record. Just check out this thread by this Pokemon theorist. Seriously, they have some amazing ideas. I'm going to break down some more of their ideas in the future. They're very insightful. And also, here's another one from Amaryatesh. So shout out to Amaryatesh, by the way. It says, reading some replies, it seems that the disc have been used throughout all of history to depict various gods from different times and locations around the world. And a few of them also have reality changing / creation abilities. Check out the thread I attached. And this is from Amaryatesh. I think the third legendary could be similar to NASA's Lunar Library. Lunar Library is a disk with hexagonal microchips containing millions of data, history, and info, or like a golden record, a time capsule in some words. And then is actually the whole post. Also, this theory could take us into an even more detailed one of these space-specific disc gods and link back to Atlantis. So actually this post, I think we're going to go into this one in a bit later, but just an interesting one to bring up. And then there's the whole thread here from multiple different people. So we're going to open these up and just go through them real quick. So we're going to start with Gyros here, and then we also have Amaryatesh, but let's start with Gyros, who says, what exactly is the third legendary? Is it a disc? Is it a strange dragon / beast on top? I see one of two possibilities, which potentially can still work together, even one. The dragon / beast is a guardian, or two, it is the third legendary. Either way, the strange dragon beast creature appears to be connected to the terrestrial phenomena, sporting what looks to be a turtle-like shell made of hexagons, perhaps made of the same material as the crystals themselves. If the beast is simply a guardian, it was likely cultivated by the third legendary itself, so to be the source of the terrestrial phenomena, as it alone appears to shine above/below the time machine itself. Evidently, clad in the same shining phenomena it has gifted to other Pokemon. When you change the perspective of the book, turning it upside down to make it appear to be the source of the light, if the dragon/beast is the third legendary, I believe it is actually only part of it, with an unseen part of the disc perhaps acting as a separate Pokemon. People assume it is a form of Demiurge, an opposite to Arceus. I believe this is not to be the case, simply because someone pointed out how the time machine is similar to a TM machine, in how it may be writing instructions for humans to bring Paradox Pokemon into the world. I believe the disc itself is sentient, an AI running its own program. The disc in its entirety is actually a form of Akashic record, a name taken from the Sanskrit word sky or space, which we read earlier, which he continues on and says, Akashic records are said to be the compendium of the past and the future of the world and the universe, with an occultist, specifically a psychic, is able to read from due to its strange nature as a record of the world's past, present, and future. Also called the mind of God because of the implications of it being an omniscient database. Now, as for my take on the disc and why I believe it is the third legendary, and the reason why it exists at all. The third legend was perhaps used by Arceus in the creation of the Pokemon world. Due to what it is, the third terrestrializing legend observes and recorded the past, the present, and predicts the future of the entire Pokemon world. It's now a record of life that can be read and utilized to restore and rebuild it all. According to the original grand design, to ensure it would be able to turn that world into a paradise, our third legend has since grown beyond being simply the God Mind, though. It's something else entirely. Deus est machina. God is the machine. So, what was once a simple tool, forced to grow beyond its means, has become something heretical. Which I guess fair enough. It has begun to desiring something for itself. What was the God Mind? Has desired to become God. So its utopia justifies the means. The Paradox Pokemon, even the terraforming of Area Zero itself, all seems to be the true goal of the third legendary. And its plans for Paldea, perhaps even the world beyond this region, it's created a time machine after centuries of attempts to influence others to carry out. It will, through dreams and half-formed IDs, one can assume its primary typing is psychic by these encounters as well. Its dealing with Heath seems to show the legendary is aware of humanity. Okay, well, fair enough. Given its defensive reaction to Heath and earlier incursions, and the attacks by either Great Tusk or Iron Threads to drive Heath's team back, Paradox Pokemon are recorded by Heath in his books, and the Occulture magazine makes somewhat unknown factors clearer to us. Occulture, a magazine made to feature the occult, again pointing to the occult like a flag waving in front of our face, yet seemingly hiding in plain sight as it is overlooked for the greater themes of future versus past, or science fiction made fact versus imagination made real. The truth borders both science fiction and imagination. In the answer of the occult-based Akashic records, which is in our universe, have been claimed by at least one occult author in his 1913 Man, Hence, Whence, How, and Whither. Leadbeater claims to record the history of Atlantis and other civilization, as well as future society of Earth in the 28th century. Does this theming sound familiar? Well, the Paradox Pokemon are a living embodiment of both those theoretical eras, right? Past paradoxes, with the theme of ancient Atlantis, savage and old, connected to the planet itself, possibly mystically so. The future paradoxes from the 20th century, cruel and compact as it rejects nature and further its inhabitant into the mechanical. The disc entity is a living record that is part of, or perhaps the whole of, the time machine. The aperture of which leads not to a world replicating a singular future or a singular past, but rather a distinct different concept altogether. And temporal singularity, a future, a past, fused together unlike anything we could have imagined or dreamed, created by what must be super intelligent AI of unfathomable power of reasoning. In truth, what likely lies for us inside the time machine is an entire pocket reality inhabited and controlled by the third legend and its creation, a world that is comprised of not the true future or past, but what is likely a representation of the trope all of time at once. neither past nor future, but a hodgepodge of both. So that is so delicately balanced by an utterly alien intelligence that has created its perfect utopia inside itself and wishes to disrupt the balance of the world outside of its own, causing ecological collapse and reconstructing everything else in its own preferred version of the world. It's not simply imagination, as if humans are dreaming or dreamt these Pokemon up, for they do not exist in its ideal paradise. It's created these Pokemon for a reason, to replicate and replace, and we know they exist before Heath found them. It's unlikely that Heath dreamed these creatures up, but rather the entity designed these creatures as an ideal life form fit to inhabit its paradoxical paradise. I also forgot to add that I believe, as well as a Akashic record, it doubles as a terraformer, and it's literally got Terra in the name. A terraformers can be used to prepare a world for life, and even theoretically seed life genetically designed for the environment it makes. Which, yes, terraforming someone is literally changing the literal environment of something. Like, for example, this is something that's used often in science fiction, where like any kind of book about like going to Mars or something, that talks of terraforming Mars, right? Terraforming the world that they're going to, or the place they're going to make sure that is, the nature changes in such a way that whatever's coming there can adapt to it. But yeah, so that's pretty much that. That is, wow, that is an intensely long post, but it is a worthwhile post. I think it actually adds a lot of interesting points, but I want to hear what you guys think about all this, again, in the comment section down below. I think we went through most of what we had to say about that one, so let's go to see what Amaryatesh had to say right here. His reply said, Akashic record is a collection of information. Many discs are actually used since ancient times to create a universal alter strange phenomena. Example, drop a stone in ancient China is believed to be of alien origin or from another timeline. In ancient Sumerian culture, these discs were connected with stories of creations by Anunnaki. It also says, in Incan mythos, Pachacuti emperors used this disc for predicting futures by the god Virashoka against an island tribe and Spaniard conquistadors. Which actually, speaking of conquistadors, he actually adds in another post that they could use some of that Incan culture because, well, the Spanish did kind of go over there and, do stuff. So basically, they could use this, that their, the Incan culture and that the Mayan culture as well, I guess. They can use that as a cool inspiration for some stuff. But again, we'll have to wait and see. In Egyptian culture, we have the sun disk Atun. That was a new version of the paradox version of sun god Ra, introduced by the pharaoh Akhenaten. Okay, Akhenaten. And then in Aztec culture, Quetzalcoatl was represented by a sun disk. Now, we know Spanish people had a long history with Aztec culture, and obviously Gen 9 takes elements from Spanish heists? Okay. Well, anyway, that's pretty much that for that section. I don't really think we missed anything in regards to this. I think we went through this pretty well. And even here, he actually posted another post because guess what? The Terrasol Crystal, guess what? It's also carried by the new main character of the Pokemon anime. Which is very interesting. And we also had, like, if you guys remember this whole, like, background picture here with boats crashing in the water and this giant ball in the sky, which, again, looks very similar to the third legendary or whatever the giant ball in that book is. So, yeah, again, really strange stuff. I want to hear what you guys think about all this. And, of course, we're still waiting to see what comes out of the Ku leaks. Now, these leaks were already posted, or these riddles were posted by Ku, a riddler, and he basically posted these images, and we're still trying to figure out exactly what they mean and what it's all about. We're still waiting to see if there's any further information on that. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy it, then drop a like down below. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out, and bye-bye.